Hi, everyone. My name is Amory Bodelson, and I am your instructor for this 7-week online course. I wanted to say hi, put a face to a name and a voice, and introduce you to the class and just briefly walk through what we'll be doing this summer. So this is a 7-week course, which means that we do not meet in person and we do not meet synchronously. It's sometimes known as asynchronous meetings, meaning that there is no set time or place for you to do your work, but you will have weekly assignments that are due Wednesdays and Sundays by midnight of each of those 7 weeks. It's not technically a self-paced course. You are welcome to work ahead in some of the folders. However, in each week's folder, there will be assignments that sometimes depend on you giving feedback and receiving feedback from your classmates. And so you need to be keeping up with those deadlines in order to make those points and give that feedback in a timely fashion. For this course, you are presenting 3 speeches. So the first speech will be a cultural informative speech. I ask you to consider a culture or a cultural custom that you could speak about. Those speeches are 3 to 5 minutes, and they require that you use at least 2 outside sources. They do not require an audience. Speech number 2 is a persuasive speech. This is the one speech in this term that requires that you gather a live audience of at least 3 adults to present and record your speech. Now, if you don't have access to 3 adults that you could present your speech to, I will arrange times via Zoom that you can present to me and any other classmates that also need that. And I will post those dates and options on Blackboard as we get closer to those dates. So that is the only speech that requires an audience. Because this is a speech course and an audience is required, it is a non-negotiable that you have an audience for that speech, or else, unfortunately, you cannot pass the course. So again, you can either gather three adults of your choosing and record that you are presenting to them. I'll talk a little bit about what that might look like again as we get closer, or you can work with me and set up a Zoom time to present to me live and some classmates. And then finally, speech number 3 will be a toast speech. This is a sort of special occasion speech in which you raise a glass and toast a person and or occasion. We often see these types of speeches at celebratory functions like retirements, weddings, significant birthdays, and that one does not require an audience, nor does it require research. I should note that your persuasive speech will also require research, including at least 3 sources. So your major assignments for this class are 3 speeches: the informative, the persuasive, which requires an audience, and the toast speech. And the first speech will be delivered in week 3, the second in week 6, and the final in week 7. In addition to your speeches, you will obviously be doing some brainstorming, pre-writing of those speeches, researching for your source information, writing your drafts, and then revising your drafts. I will take from you a formal outline of your speech written out entirely. That's how I assess that you have all the components that you need, that you have the research that's required, and that is flowing and making sense. And on each of your speeches, part of your grade will be on the content itself. So intro, body, conclusion. You are making verbal acknowledgement of the sources that you're using and it's flowing well. And then on your delivery, so you're making eye contact with your camera in this case, or your audience. You are not doing anything too distracting with your gestures. We can see you, hear you, understand you easily, and that you're making the time limit. So it's basically divided by content and then delivery skills for each of those 3 speeches. In each week's folder on Blackboard, you will find weekly readings from our online free textbook. So each week, because we are in a 7-week term, that means you likely will be reading several chapters per week. You don't always have to read the entire chapter. Sometimes I just link certain sections, but each chapter will help you with the things that we're going through in that week. I will also have you watching some sample speeches and doing some work on determining the credibility of those speeches. You will sometimes be giving peer feedback to students' drafts, and you will also be providing feedback on your classmates' speeches. So after you present and upload your speeches, I will ask that you at least watch a couple peer speeches and give them some compliments and suggestions. Again, since this is a speech course, we require an actual audience for those speeches, and that means that we are watching each other's work and giving each other feedback. There are no quizzes and no exams in this course, just the speeches that we'll focus on. A little bit about me. I have been at Western. This will be my 16th year. I teach speech, English, one sometimes, English composition, and literature courses. So Intro to Lit and American Lit. And now I've started teaching some technical reporting courses. So if you have other courses like that that you need to check out, I teach spring and summer terms. And I have lived in La Crosse since 2006. Prior to that, I was in Eau Claire, and then prior to that in Madison. Went to college in Fargo-Moorhead, Minnesota, North Dakota, and am originally from Missouri. I've been married for 25 years, and I have 3 cats, Gouda, Fisher, and Oslo. In my spare time, I enjoy traveling, cooking, having dinner parties. I like Zumba and spinning and yoga and walking and hiking. So that's a little bit about me. I have posted my top 5 ice cream for the introductory discussion board. So I look forward to watching each of yours and getting to know you all. And if you have questions, email is usually the quickest way to reach me. That information is on Blackboard, and I try to respond during the week within 24 hours. On the weekends, I might be out of town and doing things with my summer as well. So that might be a little slower response, but I do check my email pretty regularly. So I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. If you have questions, drop me an email and I'm happy to talk. Have a great one, and I'll see you soon.